Today, I'm doing one of my favourite techniques at the moment. I'm cutting up my photos. Yes, I know it sounds scary, but I am absolutely obsessed with this at the moment. So I here have three 6x4 photos. I'm going to cut one of them into strips, around about 1.3 inches, I think. And what I'm planning on doing is having a strip of photo, then a 6x4, another strip of photo in the middle, 6x4, and then the final strip on the end. I've also got some cut apart sheets and some cut out files, or cut files I should say. I'm going to back the cut files with some paper. I tend to do this a bit ad hoc and with absolutely no precision at all, because I'm not a precise person at the best of times, so why would this be any different? I like to do it where I glue my cut file onto the paper and then I cut around it. I do inevitably have places where I've got gaps where it's imperfect, but I don't mind that. If you want it perfect, that's up to you, but I really don't care, and you'll see on the photos at the end where I do have some gaps, but I don't think it takes away from the piece or makes the layout any less good, if you like. I always use wet glue for my cut files. I find it works far better than any of the repositionable glues, and it helps me to hold things in place with a bit more whatever the word is, I don't know. It just helps them to hold in place better, so I can cut around them and move the cut file around more easily without shifting the paper too much or having adhesive showing through the cut file, which is the other bit I really dislike. Now, this is fussy cutting, so for those of you that don't know, I hate fussy cutting. It is the bane of my life. Even like this, it's still a form of fussy cutting, and I loathe doing it, but I love the effect that I can get with it, so I persevere and I do it. But if I were to keep the sound on whilst I filmed these, you would hear a lot of swearing, and I really do mean a lot of expletives. Literally think squaddy. So I'll get these cut out, and then I've also got those cut out sheets. I've got some little dinky inch by inch, centimetre by centimetre square ones. I also have some larger ones which I'm going to play about with and see how they work. It's one of these things of sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, so because I've got both sizes and different types, we'll see what is going to work with this colour palette as we build the layout. I don't tend to make decisions before I start, other than it'll be either like the background photo or a specific paper or the background paper. There's one thing specific that I'll decide on beforehand. After that, it's all ad hoc and just as we go randomness, which, you know, it's interesting, but it adds some creative spice to things. So I'm finally at the end of cutting out those flowers, and we're now going to actually start building the layouts. The first thing I'm going to do is get those photos stuck down. I'm not keeping them in a straight line. It's not ruler straight. It's going to be higgledy-piggledy because that's how I roll. And as you can see, cherries 6x4, cherries 6x4, and then the cherries. I found this is a really good one to do, like cutting out the photos with photos that have either a lot of white space or they're inanimate objects that don't really need to be together. So you can see that even though I've cut the photos apart, it still tells the story, it still looks cohesive, it's not losing anything by it. I have done it with photos of people, it's worked really well, and I will link some of those up in the description below. Now I'm going to play around with some of these cut apart papers. So I've pulled out some of the larger phrases. I'm going to start slotting these in to see where they might work. In the end, I did decide that they didn't work, so I just scrapped the idea altogether and just used the really small centimetre by centimetre ones. But you've got to try it and you've got to look at it in order to find out whether they're going to work or not. So yeah, this was my sort of testing piece of will this fit in, will it, won't it? Yeah, I eventually just decided it didn't work. Now, although I've got the little squares, I wanted a bit more colour down the bottom and top. I wanted to sort of bring some of that pink in. I have the border strip that I'd punched already, so I'm going to stick that, I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to stick the bottom half at the bottom right and the other half at the top left, those photos. And then to get the flowers to fit in, I've cut them apart and start to layer them a bit more. That does give me space at the far left right hand side to add some more pink, and I think it needs it, otherwise it just looks like that slightly diagonal line sort of stops dead at the flowers, which I don't like. So I'm going to fidget around with these little bits for a while. It took me a while to get them to where I want them to be. It was very much trial and error, this particular part, just to get them not perfect, but so that they looked like they were meant to be there rather than just shoved on as an afterthought. Then I'm going to get scattering these little pieces around, trying them across the top line, the bottom line, just placing them down and seeing what's going to work for me and what doesn't. I'm going to put my title in with the flowers, either at the top or at the bottom. Not sure at this point, but that's normal for me. My title's going to be Cherries and Chill. I've got this lovely glittery green font, which I'm going to use for the cherries and the ampersand. And then for the chill, I'm going to use October Afternoon's Mini Market little letter stickers. I'm going to keep it really simple. I'm not going to map them or do anything difficult with them. I just want to pop them down. It was originally Cherries and Chill Out, but I took the out off. I just like the Cherries and Chill. That worked for me. And also I've got these little enamel hearts, so I've scattered those around. They're navy blue and they're lovely. They bring everything together. They make it nice and cohesive. I've got a thing for enamel dots. What can I say? Now, that's all there is to it. It really was a simple layout, but you can see how effective cutting apart those photos has been, and you can also see where I've missed going around the cut files. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'd really encourage you to try cutting apart a photo at some point. I'd love to see what you do. Tag me and I will see you next time. Take care. Thanks for watching.